Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the show. It's your girl Natasha Melina, and here we are with Calacote. Bienvenidos, how are you?
Gracias, no, thank you. I'm doing fantastic. Living the dream, the first weekend of living the dream. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for your platform. I'm really excited to talk. I'm doing great. It's awesome. I have first singles out.
That is the energy that we need. That is the energy that we love. So for those who don't know you, let's tell them what's going on with you. So you are the first artist signed to Maffio's newly launched record label, Alcatrax Music. It's incredible. I love the story behind it. And I don't want to tell it. I want it to come directly from you. So let's get into talking about that a little bit, because it all started with an Instagram DM.
I slid in a Mafia's DM. So for context, I had moved to Miami, kind of like in a really Hollywood way. I this is what I wanted to do. I was in grad school online because of COVID, and knew that I wanted to kind of like drop out and pursue this. I moved to Miami and I was doing classes online, living between like friends' couches in my car, hitting up everybody I could possibly hit up, releasing music on SoundCloud, releasing music on Spotify, like sending stuff to people, trying to, like get an opportunity. And there was kind of coincidentally, like two people had told me in the same day that were like within the industry, like, oh, you should hit up Mafia, like you guys kind of have a similar vibe and a similar sound, whatever. So I sent him a DM, and in the DM, I started out by saying, sé que tú no vas a leer este mensaje, pero yo soy Calacote. Like I want the kind of put a lot of international influence into, like the el dembow de nosotros, and he responded 20 minutes later and he said, Calacote, desde hoy soy tu fan, which was crazy. And that same night we had dinner. We met like face to face for the first time. And then a month later, he had gone to like vacation for Christmas. When he got back to Miami, he hit me up and invited me to the studio. And in that first session, we made Asafata. And then like 3 weeks later, I like formally signed with Mafio, and that was the beginning of Alcatrax.
This is honestly such an incredible and inspiring story, because it's like it seems like everything just kind of happened so quickly. You sent a DM one day, he replied not long after, and you guys met up that same night. Usually when you slide into somebody's DM, I don't know about you, but sometimes I'll be like thinking and contemplating it before I actually send a message. Was that the vibe for you, or was it just like, all right, I'm gonna send it and that's it?
Absolutely. I'm terrible. I'm like the most annoying overthinker ever. Like Mafio hates it. It's very much my personality. I'm so obsessed with things like that. So of course I was like, I probably like deleted it and rewrote it like 85 times. And I sincerely, like, it wasn't just, I wasn't using the line like, I know that you're not going to read this as like a catch. Like I truly was confident that like he was not going to read it. Even at that point, like as an independent artist, like, and I was super small. I had like 2,000 followers, like had a few songs out, and like, what, like 800 YouTube subscribers, like, you know what I mean? I was not like bumping at all. And I would get DMs from people being like, soy talento nuevo. Like, so I could only imagine somebody, at like Maffio's level, like what kind of message, the volume of message that he receives. So yeah, no, I was super anxious about sending it. And, the worst case scenario in my mind, like, like anybody, it's like, oh, maybe he hates this and then I burn this bridge forever. You know what I mean? I if I run into Mafia in the future, I'll never be able to work with him because I annoyed him over DM. But no, he loved it. And like I said, it started, this that was day one of Alcatrax, really. You know what I mean? It was something that Mafia had, in his head. He wanted to do a label for so long, but that was the beginning.
Yeah, and again, that's really amazing, because I mean, you coming from the place that you were coming from, feeling like, oh my God, like I don't know if I should hit up Mafia and everything. But then on Mafio's end, he's done interviews since, the launch and everything. He's saying it's because of you that he finally took that next step and launched his record label. It's all because of Calacote. So I mean, imagine that, hearing that, knowing that, it just must feel so incredible, right?
No, it's great. It's you know, it's a lot of pressure, but it's good pressure. I think it's pressure to execute, you know, and it's pressure to take this opportunity and do as best with it as I can. And I think this first single, you know, is the very very first introduction to this, but um I think what is to come, and I mean, you know, Asafata too is a really good representation of mine and Mafio sound, and obviously that'll continue to develop and that'll continue to change. But you know, it's great to work with Mafio and to be able to learn from somebody with so much experience and respect, you know, like within the genre. And so yeah, no, it's great to hear. Like I say again, it's a lot of pressure, but it's, you know, I've never had an opportunity like this, and I was a kid, uh, listening to Arcangel and listening to Calle 13 and listening to Joy Grande and listening to, like, you know, like that's what I would consider. I remember being a kid when the La Tiraera between El Alfa and El Mayor was happening in the DR, like, you know what I mean? Like I always dreamed of being here and of perfecting my songwriting and my rapping and everything to be at this level. So it's a dream come true.
That's incredible. Let's talk a little bit more, since you already dived into a little bit of your musical influences and kind of what you grew up with, you know, the La Cultura. Let's talk a little bit more to that. Who else
Yeah.
influenced you? And I mean, how, in what ways did it influence you in your own sound and your music?
So I when I was I guess in like middle school, I got, like, there was a Christmas that I got an iPod Nano and then like a $25 iTunes gift card. And which, you know, like anybody that bought music at that time knows that that's enough for like two albums and a single. So I got two albums and a single, and it was Sentimiento de Canción Mala by Arcángel, which is my favorite album ever of any musician ever, in like ever. um I love that album. I think there's so many early Arcángel bodies of work that often get overlooked, but uh he was doing something incredibly unique and incredibly cool, I think, back in the day. I mean, he still is, like, but just his ability to put together bodies of work, I think people don't, you know, people when they talk about legendary Latin albums and legendary urban albums, I feel like he kind of gets left out of the conversation. And then Residente o Visitante, you know, from Calle 13 was the other album that I got, and I adore that album. Like, and Llegamos a la Disco is the sencillo. Like, I studied these two albums so much when I was young, and I think that the influence of those, like, has stuck so much in me. Um, and now, you know, I listen to, obviously I listen to a lot of urban, but I love experimental music. I love Arca. If you know her, she's a Venezuelan artist. She's incredible. I love, like, I listen to a lot of that now. But yeah, I think those beginning influences are really evident in my sound. I think Arcangel and Calle 13 like come out in some things that I do, and I think the coolest mix with that I'm able to provide is the, you know, that which is like Dominican, you know, that Dominican sound, like the Calle 13 Arcangel influences, and, you know, these experimental influences and French influences and everything all put together in this like dembow like flow, you know.
Yeah. I think that alone, hearing the albums and the artists that really have had an influence on you, that alone really differentiates you from the crowd, I feel, just because they're, again, artists that are usually maybe more left out of the conversation than normal, like when we're normally hearing from other artists. So I love that you mentioned that. And thank you for putting us on to Arca, because I will definitely be checking her out as
Arc is
well now.
amazing. Arc is amazing. She
I
has a
will be checking
song
her out.
with Rosalia that's amazing. It's called Calacote. She has a song called Chiquiri, which is my favorite song of hers. It's great. You should listen to it.
Okay, definitely after this, I am so going to be checking her out. So thank you
But
for that. Now let's jump into talking about Asafata, which is your first single, the first single released under Alcatraz Music with Mafio. It's amazing. The vibe, the music video, everything. Tell us the story, because I know that you already got into it a little bit. Tell us that moment where it started like coming alive.
yeah, so Asafata, you know, like I mentioned, it's or I may have mentioned, it was you know, it's the first song that it's coming out, but it was the first song that we made together. So when Mafio invited me to the studio in January, he, you know, I was under a lot of pressure. It was my first time in a professional studio that I wasn't recording at home and I wasn't recording in a friend's house. And, you know, there was I never recorded with an engineer before. There's an engineer there. Like, you know, I was like freestyling with friends, like making stupid, like funny songs, like, and I had this opportunity. So Mafio, while he made the beat for Asafata, that dun 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 dun, I wrote the song, and I came in with the last line of the chorus written, that "Sipiéndome la cena como una azafata," and I knew that I wanted to like build a song around that, and that dura sí, pero por mi casa is I flipped a line from some Dominican artists, from Lapis, Musicólogo and Sujeto. Like, they came out with a song last year called "Tú eres duro por tu casa." It's like, "Tú metes mano sí, pero por tu casa. Tú eres duro sí, pero por tu casa." So I flipped it to say like, "Ella está dura sí, pero por mi casa."
Oh my God. Goosebumps. I have goosebumps. I just want to let you know. Pero sigue.
I you know, le di mucho caco, like we say in the DR. Like, I put a lot of mind into it, and yeah, like, you know, the song kind of wrote itself really quickly. We recorded the whole, like, all of literally all of, like, there's nothing else that we did to that song after 45 minutes. Like, the whole song was recorded in 45 minutes, and the version that you hear now, like, we changed nothing about it. Like, I didn't go in and do ad-libs. I didn't go, like, that's exactly how it was the very first time Mafia and I met. And our second single that's coming out, not the remix, there's a remix of Asafata that's coming out, but aside from the remix, there's a second single, and that second single we also did in that same session. So it was like back to back doing that. It was super good energy, super good. You know, there's a lot of like, Mafia and I were saying last night, like, we, like, there's a lot of things that we share. We both love the country. Funny enough, like, the older I get, the more I want to like go out and just like be in the middle of nowhere. And I think living in Miami kind of adds to that. Miami is an awesome city, but it's a city that makes me want to kind of like escape sometimes and just like be in nature. And Mafia is very much the same. So yeah, no, it came together super cool.
That's amazing. We're loving the song. We're loving the music video. And again, you already mentioned, but there's going to be a remix, and I'm so excited for it because on it, it's going to be Joel y Randy, who you just said has been like one of the most influential artist duos for you. So, okay, you got to tell me, how are you feeling? Is it done? Like, tell us what to expect.
Incredible. I cannot wait for it to drop. Obviously, I'm super happy with the original, and I'm happy to be working the original right now. But like, how that came about basically was we were in the same studio but in different studios. You know, we were in different rooms.
Yeah.
In the studio. Like they were there for a totally different session with different producers and everything. Me and Mafia were in the studio, I think even with somebody else, and we were just like, you know, again, we were like chilling, and Joel and Randy walk in, and, you know, they like have this relationship with Mafia. They know him, so they're talking, making small talk. They meet me, and I'm like shaking, you know what I mean? Because like, it's a Joel and Randy, it's like living legend.
Yeah.
And Mafia's like, "Oh, look at this, like, you know, look at my artist, like, check out this song." You know, and it was super low key. He, you know, there's a lot of music obviously that hasn't come out yet that, you know, we had recorded, and he just showed them Asafata, like the video. And Joel was like, papi, pero me encanta, like cualquier cosa, like, cuente con nosotros, like, vamos a hacer un remix, vamos a hacer esto, vamos a hacer, and it was unbelievable. I didn't believe it, you know. I didn't believe that it was going to happen, because it seemed like such a, you know, Joel and Randy, I think, perfectly embody what it's like to be a legendary artist. You know what I mean? They're obviously, they're hot. You know what I mean? They're hot artists. They're like, their music is fire, and it's new. Their new stuff is like hitting, but like, you know, there's so many years behind that, and so much respect behind their names that no, it meant the world. So remix is coming out. Then we got a Dembow Super Picante coming out with Kiko Crazy.
Nice.
There's another dembow with acapella that's coming out. That's going to be so dope. That's got French in it. I spit like 6 or 8 in French. And then there's a like bellaquera, like pop song coming out with Giancarlo Canela that's super fire. So I'm super excited.
You are just speaking my language. You are giving me everything I want to hear right now. I mean, o sea, we've got the dembow, we've got the reggaeton in there, we've got the bellaquera. Oh my God. I mean, come on. You're giving us everything that we need, and you're just starting. This is amazing.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Listen, I appreciate it because I'm gonna appreciate this new music. I am listening to Asafata constantly again. Pegó, pero pegó duro. And now we're waiting for new music from you as well. And one of the most intriguing things,
Estamos en el fifth day, día 5 de Azafata.
it's crazy. It's only the 5th day, but
Yeah.
all the stuff that's already happened, it's just incredible. Like honestly, all the press, all the love from the fans, all the love from the artists. It's just so amazing to see everything that's happening with this new single and with you, obviously. So I want to talk a little bit real quick. Yeah, of course. About what is the most intriguing. I'm sure what intrigued Mafio most, like from your initial DM, is the fact that you said you want to mix your French roots with Dembo and your Dominican roots. And I find that so interesting. And I love that because you're mixing your cultures together. Like you just said, you're about to release a song really soon too, that you're spitting in French. And that's just so cool. Tell us a little bit.
Yeah, no, I think Dembo is and first of all, I've loved I've loved Dembo literally forever. Like I was saying, like following La Tiraera del Alfa Mayor, like listening to old Mayor shit, old Alpha shit when they were both coming up. Like I grew up around that and I would consume that so much. Like my friends hated it, my family hated it. It was all I would listen to. And I think that the Dembo sound, especially the way that it's evolved, is so international and has so much potential to hit in so many places that don't necessarily know what the Dominican movement is. You know what I mean? They don't know what the Dominican sound is, but they like it. And I think being in Europe a lot and being in Canada a lot, studying Canada, like being familiar with what people across cultures that are young and that go to parties and that like want this like lively music, what they listen to and what they put on. The Dominican sound it has all the potential in the world to be everywhere, and obviously it's growing tremendously. Like we have, and Kiko's a great example. Kiko, he got his visa, he's here in the US and he's living in Miami and making music with these legends, and there's crazy stuff coming out on his end. No, I think we're at the perfect, I'm sure you've seen this too. Like it's weird to just a few years ago, like when I was in high school, like I was like, I would listen to reggaeton, I would listen to dembow, I listened to trap, right? That was like in the Bryant Myers, like Bad Bunny just starting days of trap, like, and even then Latin music was still its own niche almost, you know what I mean? It's like there was popular music and there was Latin music, and now it's not that, you know what I mean? Latin music is mainstream. It's as mainstream as it gets. And I think the like producing a really international Dominican sound is it's the perfect time for it. So I'm really excited to see the ways in which that could be like, there's like, look at songs like Pepas right now. That's like, talk about a song that is tearing through Europe, is Pepas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Tearing through everywhere. Like there's so much potential within, any of these like regional movements of Latin urban to really pick up everywhere. But I think there's something really special about the DR and its music.
Yeah, I love that you brought up, I mean, kind of everything that you just brought up. It's a really important conversation. I geek out on talking about it. The fact that Latin music has grown so much on a global scale. Like you said, it's mainstream. Like, again, we're the same age. So we kind of grew up like in the same era where, you know,
Yeah,
Dembow especially was like really kind of more like underground. It wasn't so
of
widely
course. Yeah,
accepted. And then we didn't have full Latin music playing on American radio. Like now we have full on Bad Bunny songs, like J Balvin songs playing on American radio, and everybody's singing these songs. We didn't have that. So to see the way that the culture and the music and our artists have grown is just really amazing. I'm
yeah,
so excited for you to be like, you know, desarrollándote en este momento now that, you know, this is the reality that we're living in. It's really cool and it's really amazing. And the fact that you're bringing all of your different cultures together is just, it's really incredible. And I appreciate that so much. Again, you're putting us onto new sounds that we haven't even heard before.
no, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm like I said, I'm if anything just super grateful and super excited. You know, this is I was so like I've spent so much of my life so entangled in the movement and wanting to be a part of it and perfecting my music and now to be here, you know, to be on this side and to have this first song out and all of this, you know, shit on the way is amazing. So I'm super excited to keep working. Obviously, you know, saying this is day 5 of you know having this song out. Like this is the 5th day of the real work. You know, the real work happened last Thursday night at midnight when the song came out.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to keep that up.
Well, Calacote, honestly, thank you so much for sharing your story, sharing a little bit about your music with us. Ahora te voy a dar el piso so you can like have a quick little message for your fans, your new Calacote fans, and tell us where to find you.
No, perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah, you know, across all social media, @Calacote, @Calacote. Stream Asafata. Asafata is killing it on YouTube. There's so much on the way. So que están pendientes porque lo que viene es picante, lo que viene es spicy.